I know a place where you can find the most exciting stories ever told and the most fascinating lessons ever taught. They're all right inside the Bible, waiting to be found. All you have to do to join the team is open it up, and you'll find all sorts of great Bible discoveries. Ahoy there, Discovery Team! I'm glad you could join me. We have quite a discovery to make today, and quite a long way to go to find it. Have you ever been on a boat ride before? Well, even if you have, you're in for a big surprise, because we're about to set sail on the greatest boat ride ever, a real adventure on the high seas. I can't promise that it will all be smooth sailing, but I hope that doesn't scare you away, because this discovery is sure to be a great one. And though we're setting out to discover dry land, I feel certain that there will be plenty more to discover along the way. So welcome aboard as we hoist up the sails and weigh anchor on an incredible journey in search of dry land. Thousands and thousands of years ago, when this earth that God made was still quite new, there lived a humble gardener named Noah. Noah was a very good and righteous man. He loved the Lord God with all his heart and served God in everything that he did. Each day, as he tended his fields and his vineyards, he would thank the Lord for creating such a wonderful world, a world with such a variety of animals and so many wonderful plants to grow. Noah did not mind the hard work in the fields, for he loved every plant and every flower that grew there. So the Lord blessed Noah's gardens, and they always produced an abundance of food. The Lord truly does bless me, Noah thought. The Lord also blessed Noah with 3 strong sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They also worked hard in Noah's fields and praised the Lord God for the harvest. Noah and his family seem to know all about dry land. That's a farmer's business, knowing all about the earth and the soil and the best conditions for plants to grow. But Noah knows that there's more to gardening than just planting seeds. Noah knows that God is to thank for making all the wonderful plants grow and flourish. Noah thanks God for all he's been given, and God blesses Noah with everything he needs. Now, when the Lord looked down on the world he had created, and at the men and the women who lived in it, God was quite sad. For no matter where the Lord looked, he saw that the people living on the earth had grown wicked. Their thoughts were filled with evil and destruction. They waged wars with one another. They murdered and cheated. They hated and hurt, and did nothing pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. And God was sorry that he'd ever made man at all. So the Lord made a decision. I will wipe out all the men and women from the earth I have created, and not just the humans, but also the beasts and the creeping things and the birds of the air. I'm sorry that I made them. Boy, God sounds angry. God is upset because the people in the world have forgotten about all the good things God made. They have forgotten to thank God for this wonderful creation. They've even forgotten how to treat one another with love. God's ready to give up the farm and put an end to the whole world. It sounds like the whole earth is sunk. But when God looked down on Noah, God smiled, for Noah made God happy. So the Lord appeared to Noah and said, I have decided to put an end to all humankind. They have spoiled my earth with sin and wickedness. I will destroy them and all life on earth. Noah wondered what the Lord could mean by all of this, but the Lord continued, I will spare you and your wife and your sons and their wives, for you have made me happy. I want you to build a boat, Noah, bigger than any boat ever made. I want you to build a fantastic boat, an ark. Yes, Noah thought, an ark, a fantastic ark. I've always wanted to try my hand at sailing. Build it out of gopher wood, the Lord said. Fill it with stables and stalls, and coat the entire ark inside and out with pitch. Ah, yes, thought Noah. Coat it with pitch. Pitch will keep the water out. The Lord continued, the length of the ark should be 300 cubits. 300 cubits? Noah thought in amazement. That is longer than a river is wide. The width of the ark should be 50 cubits, and the height should be 30 cubits. My, thought Noah, this ark will be as big as a hill. Put a window near the top of the ark, and lay a sturdy roof on top of it. Build a large door in the side of the ark, and put 3 different levels on the inside. What will my family do with a boat this big? Noah thought. But he had heard the Lord's command, and he went straight to work.
Noah knows. Noah knows that God is in charge. Noah knows to pay attention to God, and Noah knows to trust God, even when following God may look foolish to the rest of the world. And it's a good thing, too, because God has promised to save Noah's family when the flood comes. Noah knows that doing God's work is the most important thing he can do. His life depends on it.
For many, many years, Noah and his 3 sons worked. First, they went into the forest, looking for the tallest, sturdiest trees with which to build the ark. Each tree was chopped by hand and brought down to the valley where the ark was built. Then every tree was cut and shaped into boards and planks and beams. Each one was designed to fit perfectly in its place. Then Noah and his sons laid out the keel of the boat. It was 300 cubits long, and for the first time, the grand scale of the ark could be seen. Then they began to hammer and nail and pound the planks and boards into place. From sun up until sundown, day after day, they carried and climbed and carted the heavy wood up and down the sides of the ark. Imagine what the people passing by would say, the very same people who had made the Lord so sad and angry. Imagine how they must have teased poor Noah as he worked.
What's wrong with Noah? There's nothing but good times and good weather out here, and he's busy building that old boat. That silly old coot better start planting his crops or his family will starve. What do you think, Discovery Team?
But that did not stop Noah or his sons. They continued their daily chores, and year after year, the ark grew more and more complete. Before too long, the full shape of the ark appeared. Inside the ark, things were taking shape as well. Noah designed the ark just as God had told him, 3 levels high and filled with rooms and stables and stalls. In a tiny corner of the ark, Noah's wife cleaned and organized the family's living quarters. Just what will we do with all of this room, she wondered. But still the work was not done. Noah now spent his days climbing ladders up and down the ark, toting a brush and a bucket of pitch. I don't think there can be a doubt this pitch will keep the water out, he would sing to himself. Noah was getting very old. He had been working on the ark for so many years, but he did not mind because he loved the Lord with all his heart, and the Lord had given him this job to do.
Well, good for Noah. Everyone needs a hobby, and his boat building seems to keep him occupied. I'd prefer to have fun out in the sun. I mean, look around. It's a beautiful day. Hey, where'd those clouds come from? Oh well.
Then one day the Lord called out to Noah again. Noah, the Lord said, I am about to send a great flood to the earth, which will destroy every living thing. But I will spare you and your family as I have promised. You shall all go into the ark, and you shall take 2 of every living creature, 1 male and 1 female, and keep them on the ark with you, so that they may also stay alive. Of all kinds of beast and all kinds of bird, and every creeping thing that crawls on the face of the earth. 2 of each shall come into the ark that you have made. My, Noah thought, what a racket they will make. And you must also store up all the food that you and your family will eat while on the ark, as well as food for all the animals, to keep you healthy and well fed on the ark. My, Noah thought, just what does an elephant eat? 7 days from now I will send rain, a rain like no other. It will fall down onto the earth for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. The rain will wipe out and destroy every living creature on earth that I have made.
Rain? Rain that will destroy the whole world? Well, what am I doing out here? I've got to get ready for the flood.
Noah scurried up the ladder to tell his family what the Lord had said. There's so much to do, he laughed to himself. And as he climbed up to the top deck of the ark to look for his sons, he saw them coming in the distance. The creatures of the earth were coming to the ark. They walked, or hopped, or crawled, or crept, or scuttled, or flapped, or flew, all of them in pairs, 1 male and 1 female, just as the Lord had commanded. Noah rushed to open the door in the side of the ark, and still the animals marched closer. 2 by 2 in a great parade, they approached the ark and started to board. For the next 7 days, while Noah and his family quickly gathered up the food and supplies from their vast gardens and fields, the animals continued to come. By day and by night they boarded the ark, each pair taking its place in a stable or stall, until, as the 7 days came to an end, they had filled every last nook and cranny of the boat. And when all of the animals, and Noah, and Noah's family were all safely on the ark, the Lord God shut them in.
Imagine Noah's surprise this time. His ark was barely finished, and his family was set for a relaxing voyage in a big, open, comfortable boat, all to themselves. But God has remembered the other creatures of the world too. God had planned to save them all, and God used Noah and his amazing ark to do it. I bet that boat doesn't seem too big now.
As soon as the 7 days were over, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. Rain immediately crashed down on the roof of the ark, and geysers and springs of water erupted from the ground. Day after day, the water continued to fall from the sky. And slowly but surely, the ground began to disappear on all sides of the ark. Soon the water had risen so high that the boards and planks which supported the ark on dry land were washed away one by one. The ark leaned and lurched and tilted and teetered and slid, and slowly started to float. It floated down the valley, between the hills, over sunken fields, and through the tops of trees which had once towered over the landscape. And still the rain did not stop. The water grew higher and higher, and the ark floated on, and upward and upward. Thunder and lightning crashed and flashed around the ark. The waves grew higher and higher, and the winds blew stronger and stronger. But inside the ark, the animals were all quiet and resting. And Noah's family spent their time feeding the animals and cleaning the stalls and passing the hours peacefully. The Lord was watching over the ark, and every creature on board was filled with God's peace.
Even in the midst of the terrible storm, Noah and his family know that God will keep them safe. Even the animals, who certainly weren't used to sailing around, felt safe under God's protection. Noah can trust God even in the scariest times. Can you think of scary times when God takes care of you?
The rain continued to fall for 40 days, just as the Lord had said. At the end of those 40 days, the rain stopped. The wind stopped howling, the waves ceased their pounding, the lightning and thunder no longer flashed or crashed, and the water finally began to calm. The earth and everything on it were completely covered in water. The tallest tree, the tallest hill, the tallest mountain, all lay deep under the waters of the flood. As far as the eye could see, there was nothing but the deep blue of the waters and the cool gray of the sky. And every living thing on earth, the cattle of the fields, the birds of the air, and everything that creeps over the land had been destroyed, as well as each person on earth. Only Noah, his family, and the animals on the ark were left.
Well, Discovery Team, the storm may be over, but Noah and his family aren't out of the deep end yet. With all the land covered up, the ark has nowhere to go. God has kept his promise to save Noah and his family, but for what? There's nowhere to go and nothing to do.
The waters maintained their crest for 150 days. And then God remembered Noah and all the animals that were on the ark. So God blew down over the waters with a breath like a strong wind, and the waters began to subside. Gradually the water receded from the earth, so that soon the tops of the highest mountains began to appear. The ark had been floating on the waters for nearly a year without a stop, but one day Noah felt a bump, then a scrape, then a tilt, and one more bump, and the ark stopped floating. It had finally come to rest at the very top of a high mountain, Mount Ararat, and there it sat for 40 days as the water continued to go down.
Have you ever seen a life preserver, Discovery Team? Well, that's what the ark is, the world's biggest life preserver. The ark has saved Noah and his family. It preserved their lives until they could finally find dry land.
At the end of 40 days, Noah had an idea. Why not take a look around, he thought to himself. His family agreed. They had been on this boat for almost a year. So for the first time since the rains had started so long ago, Noah opened the window which he had built into the top of the ark, and the bright sun shone inside at last. Noah looked and looked, but all he could see was water. He must be perched atop a high mountain, he thought. We must find out how much land is out there. So Noah took the raven, a very wise and tricky bird, and let him loose to search over the water for signs of land. The raven flew back and forth all over the earth, but never returned to the ark. So Noah shut the window and waited.
All this waiting must have been really hard for Noah and his family. Imagine how relieved Noah will be when the time comes to leave the ark. He knew that it would rain for 40 days, but did he bargain for this endless floating? Hang in there, Noah.
7 days later, Noah opened the window of the ark again and looked out. I think the waters have gone down even more, he thought. This time Noah chose a dove to see if the waters really had gone down. But though the dove flew back and forth across the water, she could find no place to land. She returned that night to Noah's waiting arms, because the water still covered everything on earth. So Noah closed the door and waited. After 7 more days, Noah opened the window of the ark again and released the dove out over the water for a second time. He waited and waited all day long for the poor dove to return, and just as the sun was setting, the dove did return to Noah's arms. And this time she brought a leaf from an olive tree in her beak. The waters really have gone down, Noah thought. God has kept the promise. So Noah went back in the ark and waited. And in just 2 months, the earth was once again dry.
Land ho, Discovery Team! We finally made it! This is the greatest discovery since Columbus discovered America. I mean, the greatest discovery since before he discovered America. We should get down on our knees and say thank you to God. What do you think Noah will do?
Then God called out to Noah, "It's time to leave the ark. Take your wife and your sons' wives, and every creature on the ark, every bird and creeping animal, and return to the land." So God opened the door of the ark, and the animals started to leave. Noah and his family watched and directed each animal as they scampered out of the ark and into the sunshine. And as they hurried away from the ark which had saved them, God gave the animals this command: "Be fruitful and multiply yourselves on the earth. Fill my entire planet with creatures of every make and kind." And so, after many, many years of working and chopping and shaping and nailing and hammering and painting and planting and packing and sailing and waiting, Noah and his family also left the ark.
That's right, Noah. It's time to leave the ark. No more smelly animals and no more seasick elephants. But you still have to remember the one who brought us all through this amazing discovery.
Noah immediately built an altar to the Lord who had saved his family from the flood, and he praised the Lord for saving this wonderful creation. When the Lord saw Noah's altar and smelled the sweet smoke rising to heaven, God thought, "I will never again destroy the earth because of man, despite sin and wickedness. I love the humans I created with all my heart, for I made them after my own image." And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "You too be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth with your descendants. My entire creation is yours to take care of, the plants and the animals alike, for I love my entire creation and promise to never destroy it again. I am making a covenant between myself and you and all creatures that have left the ark," the Lord said. And with that, God hung a rainbow in the sky. "This bow is my sign to you and all creation. When you see this rainbow hanging in the sky, remember my promise to never destroy the entire world with a flood again. As the bow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember you, Noah, and remember my covenant with you, and all the cattle and all the birds and all the fish and everything that creeps and crawls over the face of the earth." And old Noah, who listened to God's command and spent so many years building and sailing the ark, finally rested. And he thought to himself, My, I think I'll plant a garden."
How about that, Discovery Team? We made it! And with God's help and guidance, Noah made it too. And the great discovery is that if we trust in God, we'll make it through the storms and rough seas in our lives. God has signed a contract right across the sky to prove that it's true. How can I be so sure? Because I read it right inside the Bible. Why not go and do some more discovering for yourselves? Just open it up, and there'll be smooth sailing ahead. So goodbye for now, until I see you again for more great Bible discoveries.
Stick around, Discovery Team. See if you can answer these quick questions. Which of these is a son of Noah? A. Nathan, B. Matthew, or C. Japheth? The answer is C. Japheth was one of Noah's 3 sons. God told Noah to build an ark and fill it with A. Food, B. His family, or C. Animals. All 3 answers are correct. God told Noah to fill the ark with his family, animals, and food. Noah lined the bottom of his ark with something to keep the water out. What was that sticky stuff called? A. Glue, B. Pitch, or C. Tar? The answer is B. There cannot be a doubt. Pitch will keep the water out. How long did the rain fall on the earth and on Noah's ark? A. 3 months, B. 40 days and nights, or C. 52 weeks? The answer is B. The rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. On which mountain did the ark finally come to rest? A. Mount Ararat, B. Mount Zion, or C. Mount McKinley? The answer is A. Noah's ark came to rest on Mount Ararat. After a full day of searching, what did the dove bring to Noah? A. A message, B. An olive branch, or C. An apple? The answer is B. An olive branch proved that the water was going down. What did Noah do immediately after leaving the ark? A. Planted a tree, B. Took a nap, or C. Built an altar? The answer is C. Noah built an altar to thank the Lord. What does God place in the sky as a sign that the world will not be destroyed by a flood again? A. A rainbow, B. A cloud, or C. An angel? The answer is A. The rainbow is the sign of God's promise. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again for another great Bible discovery.